approved it, money out of that. So I actually carried the title to Jared Armstrong's office, told him what we just purchased, signed the paperwork. He gave me a tag for the car. I carried it back down to Mr. Blackard's body shop. He put the tag on the car, and I called Justin, and we got the car. No, they brought the car down here, dropped it off for us. Within a week, we had a title to the car. Everything's fine. Justin, I think, drove it one day, and we started looking at what we needed to do to retrofit the car, because everything else had been put back in it except for the blue light. Justin calls me up, and he said, "Hey, Carter, we got a problem." "What's that?" He said, "I think you said we. He may have said you bought a stolen police car." I said, "What are you talking about?" "Well, the sheriff called me, and he said, 'Mayor, you know that white car that you bought from Blackard?' And I said, 'Yeah, I got the title, I've got the paperwork and everything on it.' He said, 'Well, we have found out that car was stolen.' 'What do you mean that car was stolen?' And he kind of laughed about it. He said, 'Are you in the habit of doing that?' And I said, 'Hey, Justin said it was a good buy, so I bought it.' Now, here's what happened. What is the name of that town?
Camden.
Okay. Camden Volunteer, Sandy River Volunteer Fire Department had a volunteer fireman. This volunteer fireman called the Collierville Police Department. Collierville Police Department, Captain Williams talked to him, and he said, 'Do you have any police cars that y'all would donate to another police department or a fire department?' Captain Williams said, 'Yeah, as a matter of fact, we've got a couple of cruisers that we're taking out of service, and yeah, we'll donate one to your volunteer fire department. So listen up, Mike Vaughn.' So what ends up happening, this young man and his daddy go to the Collierville Police Department, present themselves. Captain Williams, he signs that title over and hands it to him. Well, this young man, he carries the car back to Camden to the volunteer fire department, and he starts driving it like it's his own personal vehicle. Well, the chief didn't even know about it, as a matter of fact. So then he decides, well, I'm going to sell this car. So he puts it on Craigslist. Well, he doesn't get a hit on Craigslist, so he started having trouble out of the car. He brings it down to Bolivar to Blackard's, and he trades the car in on a truck. Now, that young man is in jail. He is being prosecuted, and here's where we are right now. Legal counsel has advised us the procedure to follow. At the present time, we do have a letter from the Collierville Police Department relinquishing any ownership in that car. They don't want it back, okay? So I talked to the Attorney General up in Camden. What district is that? It's not 25th. But anyway, let's say 24th. I talked to him. Well, I talked to the mayor up there first, the city mayor, who referred me to the county mayor. The county mayor was aware of it because they had the volunteer fireman arrested, and they were prosecuting him. And when I talked to the Attorney General told me, he said, "Mayor, as soon as we get through prosecuting this individual, I will compile a letter with all the appropriate signatures to send to Grand Junction. We do not want that car back. We want y'all to have the car. But our legal counsel said that vehicle is not going to be moved because it's at B&E having some work done on the lights and stuff. They're keeping it for us. And once we get that paperwork back, then we will pick the car up, and we do have a backup unit for the unit that we got." So that's the story on that car. Did I purchase a car in question? At the time, I didn't know it was in question and did not know about it until 2 weeks later. Answer your question.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. But anyway, all of this leads up to the fact that Justin's credibility has been questioned because he failed to agree with an affidavit that said that he identified some equipment that belonged to the city of Grand Junction that he didn't know anything about, which was the dog kennel. And that was 5 years ago. Justin has not been with us that long. And the thing of it is, he was just like me, was unaware that any of this stuff belonged to the city. Plus, the fact that I did inform the mayor that there was property out there and told him that someone needed to go pick it up, and that was never done. So I cannot see ruining this man's career over something that he really had no control over, that all of this just kind of snowballed and he got caught up in it. And with that being said, I'm gonna stop there.
One more comment along that line, Richard. There is more to this. I'm not going to comment. The vice mayor was there as a witness. Chief Ryan was sitting in my office, and Lieutenant Powers was also sitting there. Now, I'm not going to comment any further because it will come out at a later time. But I am going to say this. I have had training in substance abuse. I have done counseling in substance abuse. I've also been through training on people that have gambling addictions. Now, for somebody to say you should have, let me just say this much. Chief Ryan's a friend of mine. He was a friend of mine before he came to work here. I can rest easy knowing I did make some offers to Chief Ryan. And Chief denied having a need for help. I'll just say that. And I'm not going to say anything else. But anyway, I know that the offer was made. And you are absolutely right. We do have a program here. If we have an employee, but the whole thing in a nutshell, unless an employee wants to help, you cannot make them go. Just that simple.
Well, that's true.
Right. Now, so the offer was made, and the chief told me he did not have a problem, and I took the man at his word. I'm not saying anything else about it. I'm just not going to go into that. What else, Richard? Okay. Isaiah?
I have fun with this thing back and forth, back and forth. I read the charter. I think Justin is a great cop, but under the circumstances, after I contacted people, that, been keeping up with this thing, that's more advanced in, dealing with this type of thing, one asked a question that really stuck in my mind. If you keep your officer on duty as a police officer in Grand Junction, do you think that his rights will be restored back where he could properly do a job in Hardin County or in the city of Grand Junction? And if the board decide to keep Justin tonight, and his rights as far as, what he would be able to do in Grand Junction, it just still be limited within a certain area, I still believe that he won't be effective to do his job, which, like I stated before, he's a great cop. He has done a lot of good in Grand Junction, but it's that, it still don't cover up the fact that, if he's not effective enough to do the job, we still, it seems like to me we just limited to a traffic cop, and people don't want that. I have talked to people right here in the Grand Junction about it, and basically all of them telling me the same thing. We don't need a traffic cop. The situation, the subject's been brought up back and forth about, well, hey, here we are, we have someone, that we feel that have done more in Grand Junction than anyone else, as far as fighting the drug dealers and fighting this and fighting that. But if he's limited, then where did that leave the city? Do we continue to pay an officer that can't take any, that can't make an arrest, can't do this, can't do that, you know? So the question was asked to me, when you signed on to be a board member, was you signing on to fight county issues or city issues? I said, well, I signed on to be, you know, as be honest as I could to, you know, take care of city matters. And this person advised me to just stick to taking care of city matters. The evidence that's presented before you, only base your facts upon evidence presented before you, because when you step out into city business or city matter, county matters, you stepping way beyond your boundaries and you can get caught up. So my decision is this. I feel that Justin had do have great potentials to be a great officer, but at the same token, by him being limited to what he can do, I feel that, you know, he can't be all he can be with the stipulations that's hanging over his head right now.
Duly noted.
Like I say, I don't think it's been any secret that I have struggled over this, because I've sat through 2 meetings where we've discussed the same issue, and from both meetings, I have heard no evidence of any wrongdoing by Justin other than a dog kennel, that we keep coming back to this dog kennel. However, and because I have felt inadequate to make a decision on this, and I have laid awake, and let me tell you, I have hit my knees and prayed to God to tell me what to do about this. I've had chest pains for 3 nights worrying about this. So I decided, okay, and someone that gave me some good advice in this room told me, you were elected to represent the people. It doesn't necessarily matter what your opinion is, you need to find out what the opinion is of the people. So I have spent 2 days polling the people, the citizens. I made sure they were citizens of the town of Grand Junction. So whether or not I agree with their opinion, I plan to vote the way that the majority of the people asked me to vote. However, I will say this, I guess the thing that I kept coming back to was, if we got a letter from an attorney general, whom I've never personally met and don't know anything about him, and he sent us a letter and told us that we need to impeach Mayor Curtis Lane, but we're not going to be told why we need to do that, but just that we need to, or he's not going to have any power to do anything, would we all just say, okay, let's do it, no questions asked? And would we, you know? But as I said, my opinion has become less important to me than the opinion of the people that I represent. So I will vote with the majority of the opinions I've been given.
Okay, David.
Well, I kind of had my mind made up a while back, but then in the last couple of hours, things have just kind of changed around. I don't think yet that there's still issues that need to be brought out and resolved and brought before the board to make more decisions. I do think that Justin does good for the city. I think that we have to ignore more or less the county on what they want to do, but they have placed restrictions on Justin, and Justin is not able to do what he can do for the city of Grand Junction. And if it's a situation where you have to vote to have a police officer that can do his job, right now Justin can't do that because of other limitations placed on him, just like Isaiah said. And you have to have a police officer that you can not only count on, but be able to do the job for the city.